What is up, guys? Bradmer here, bringing you guys a OBA Season 2 conclusions video. Just basically a video where I'm going to go over my thoughts on the whole season for the Mega Bat Association, Season 2. Um, and just just a little bit update you guys about the season, some thoughts and stuff like that in this video, stuff like that. So if you guys do want to show some support, drop that like button down below. That really be awesome. Really appreciate it. And also, if you are new, subscribe for more Pokemon content daily. I know I have a few Wi-Fi battles and stuff up on the channel as well, so if you guys want to go check those out. Actually, I think it was like last week. Actually, season 2 actually came to a close of the OBA. Winner of season 2 was actually Ryan of the Liverpool of Noon. So congratulations to Ryan. Good job, man. Actually went against him week 1. So Liverpool of Noon's actually picking up the championship for season 2. So congratulations to them. Very good battler as well. Other than that, though, just wanted to go over some of my thoughts about this. Not really know where I should really start, but just wanted to really go over most of my draft with you guys one last time. Also, a few shout outs. I would like to throw a shout out to most of the coaches that actually helped me team build during the season. I really appreciated the help and all the advice as well. Really appreciate the help from some other coaches. If any of the other coaches that are going to be returning next season want any team building help, you can always hit me up. Hit me up on Skype or whatever. Hit me up on Twitter. I always help everybody team build. So, and also a shout out to Tate. I'll leave his YouTube link in the description. He actually helped me team build at the beginning and towards the middle of the season. He actually helped me team build for a few of my matches, which actually did help a lot. So, if you guys do want to go check him out, he actually does Pokemon Showdown stuff and stuff like that on his channel. Mono types and stuff like that. If you want to go check it out, leave his YouTube link in the description. He's close to 100 subscribers, so go over there and subscribe. Other than that, though, we actually ended the season with an 8-7 ratio. We started off the season incredibly hot out of the gate until around about mid-season, like around about week 7, week 8. I don't know, for some reason we got unlucky. We kept getting a lot of bad luck in most of our matches. A lot of bad luck. Not really gonna blame most of it on luck because I know I made a few bad plays in a few matches that I could have improved on looking back. But my goal was basically to try to make it to playoffs. That did not happen, so my second goal was to come out with a positive ratio. And 8 wins, 7 losses, we did accomplish that. Even though we did get a few forfeit wins towards the end of the season. I think like 1 or 2 forfeit wins. It's still an 8-7 ratio. I'm really happy about that. We actually came out even this season. Had a really good start to the season as well. We were at one point, I think number 1 overall. I think it was around like weeks 5 or 6. We actually number 1 overall, which is very awesome being on number 1 on the ladder. Again, not really quite sure what order I'm supposed to really gonna say my thoughts and stuff like this, but next season I have a kind of a little bit of a sketch of a draft for next season so far. I will say more of that at the end of the video, towards the end of the video, but I just wanted to go over some of our draft for this season, tell my opinions about the Mons and stuff like that. Beginning with actually Mega Scizor. Originally I actually was going to go with Mega Metagross. However, the only person in front of me, my luck, the only person in front of me actually sniped Mega Metagross from me, and he hasn't really used it too well in the whole season anyways. I think if I probably would have had Mega Metagross, I would have did maybe a little bit better. I'm not going to say I did a lot better, because Mega Scizor was one hell of a good Mega. I think leading the team in kills, actually. You can run this thing a lot of ways. I really found out that the versatility of this thing was very nice. It gets a pretty good move pool. It does have the 4 times weakness to fire, but if you can prepare for the fire types and have a little bit of knowledge about what your opponent's going to be bringing, this thing is a very big threat, and it hits very hard with the Technician Bullet Punch and stuff like that. It also gets access to Pursuit and Vacuum Wave if you want to run a special Mega Scizor. Really found this thing was really, really good. Also, the defensive form and the offensive form of this thing is completely insane for me this season. Um, Very, very good Mega. Don't really I can't talk. Regret uh, drafting this thing at all this season. Um, Very, very good Mega. Even though Mega Metagross probably would have been about the same, I'm not even going to complain because I got to use Mega Scissor, which normally I wouldn't really use this thing. But um, very, very good Mega in my opinion. It did really, really good for us this season. I'm proud that we actually scooped this thing up. That was one of those mons that I really usually don't see too much, so we were using it and it did very, very good for us this season, actually coming in clutch a lot of our matches. Our second pickup was actually Sylveon. This thing is a very, very hard hitter. It was one of those things that I can always rely on. You can run it defensive, special defensive, or you can just run it all out offensive, and it hits teams super, super hard if they do not have a dedicated counter. It also completely wrecks certain teams if they do not have anything that really can deal with this thing, like Steel type or Poison type or something like that. Um, in my opinion, this is probably the best Fairy type in draft league format. Definitely happy I got this thing. I know I sniped a few other people that actually wanted to go after me and pick this thing up, so very, very happy I got this thing. Served us very, very well in the season. Came clutch a lot of times, especially with the special defensive set and the all-out offensive, and even the choice scarf set like I ran with this one. Overall, do not regret picking this thing up. This thing is very, very good for us this season. Moving on, Heatran. There's a lot I can say about this thing, but overall, this thing was one hell of a wall for my team. I planned on running this thing offensive as well. I actually planned before the draft. I actually wanted this thing as well, but I also planned on running this thing mixed. I was going to run it choice specs at one point, but um, I never really got any matches that it would really be beneficial for me to run it in. Yeah, I could have maybe threw my opponent off guard, but the defensive or special defensive variants of the thing were just too clutch for my team. I really needed that a lot on my team, especially with the only two times weakness to fighting and 4 times weakness to ground. Um, I also could have probably packed Air Balloon, but I really didn't think Air Balloon was going to be too beneficial in most of my matches as well. But very good Rock Setter, very good Taunter. It walls a lot of certain mons on a lot of my opponent's team. Came in very clutch for me this season. A lot of versatility as well. It has a decent move pool, being Earth Power, Flash Cannon, and stuff like that. You could also run Choice Specs if you want. I just never had a chance to run a Choice Specs. I could have maybe, but just really never had the chance. It really wouldn't be the best thing to run in most of my matches that I had. Overall, do not regret drafting this thing. This is one hell of a member of the Grass Plains Raikus for Season 2. First UU pick, actually he's not even order, so UU pick, Mandibuzz. This thing came in clutch a lot this season, very, very good wall. I could have ran this thing offensive as well, but this thing was more meant when I did pick it up for either a defensive or a special defensive wall or a phaser or something like that. Also was planning on running this thing as a nasty plot setup sweeper. One point that did not go through with that plan, but very, very nice. It has a decent base speed as well, so it outspeeds a lot of other walls. Decent attack stat. It's not the best attack stat, but it's decent. Decent HP stat as well. Even with knockoff, it hits very hard. It also has that defog, which really needed for my team. Overall, Mandibuzz, a very, very good pickup for the Grass Plains Raikus this season. Very, very proud of it. That has a very, very good move pool. For Alligator, this thing came in clutch a few matches. The first match actually taking out the Tangrowth. That was one of the highlights for this thing. Even with the Ice Weakling Berry, it just pulled through. I really wanted to bring this thing a lot more, but really my matches really didn't. A lot of my opponent's teams really didn't. I don't know what the word is. Match up for this thing, I guess. We're kind of countered for this thing. I also planned out running a Choice Specs Sheer Force for Alligator at one point, but never got around to running that. Once you set up a Dragon Dance with this thing, though, it's pretty much GG unless your opponent has something that really kind of counters this thing, or something that probably is either Choice Scarfed or they have Electric type on the field that could be possibly Choice Scarfed or something like that. If they have a decent counter. But with one Dragon Dance up, going to be putting in a lot of work as it did for me this season. Also gets a decent move pool and a very, very good two abilities, being Torrent and the Sheer Force. Moving on, Haxorus. This thing was one hell of a sweeper this season. Um, Mostly ran this thing as I didn't know I ran it as a Choice Scarf one match, Substitute Dragon Dance for one match, and I actually also ran it as D Dance. I think D Dance Lum for a few matches. It didn't put in as much work as I really thought it would, but it came through in a lot of my matches when I really needed to rely on this thing. It did do the job, so um, very, very good pickup for the Grass Plains Raikou this season. I am not disappointed with the thing as well. It did very, very good. It also gets a very good move pool. Decent speed stat, but once you set up one or two Dragon Dances, and if your opponent does not have anything to really prepare for this thing or any priority, you're going to be putting a big ass dent in your opponent's team with this thing. First, RU pick Jolteon, probably one of the most relied on pickups this season, just because the electric typing is very, very good in draft league formats. Being that I can get in Volt Switch, get a lot of damage off with the Choice Specs, Life Orb variant, Citrus variant, like I ran a lot of weeks. I also actually was going to run Assault Vest variant for my last week if my opponent did not forfeit. So a lot of different things. Also gets a decent move pool. It's a little bit limited what it could do, but it gets the job done. It's there. It's kind of predictable as well. You really can only run about 4 to 6 moves. That's kind of predictable, but it does the job very, very good. And if your opponent does not have a solid response to this thing, it does put in a lot of work on your opponent. So Jolteon, really, really solid pickup for the Grass Plains Raikou this season. Put in a lot of work, so definitely might consider actually picking it up again. So going on, Typhlosion. This thing came in clutch a lot of times. Mostly Choice Scarf variant I ran this season. I actually think I ran Focus Sash in one match, but I got completely bodied as well. This thing gets pretty good coverage, and being that I actually got Flash Fire recently, really boosted as well, and that was something for my team that really benefited this thing. That with the base 100 speed, it outspeeds a lot of things under base 100, like base 90s, base 80s, and with that, it could run Choice Specs as well. It hits very hard with the Eruption Flamethrower and stuff like that. Also, the Choice Scarf variant came through for me a lot this season. Very, very good late game cleanup sweeper. Typhlosion overall, pretty good pickup. Not the best thing, I don't think, but very, very good. It came through when we did rely on it. So Cofagrigus, this thing is again one of the mons that was one of the more of the dedicated walls, I guess, for the Grass Plains Raikou this season. Mainly actually used to counter Mega Lopunny. It was one of its highlights in the season. That's what I remember from this thing. Then it walls the shit out of a lot of mons. The Mummy ability is actually very, very good, in my opinion, in League type format. It also gets rid of the opponent's ability, stuff like that. Able to actually throw up Toxic Spikes, stuff like that. It gets spikes, gets a decent move pool. You can also run that Nasty Plot variant, which I actually planned on running, but again, opponent's teams really did not see fit for it. Decent move pool, very, very good defense, kind of low HP, but we kind of pulled around it, and also just get that recovery and pain split. Otherwise, very, very good pickup this season, very, very good defensive wall. Also was thinking about running Assault Vest this season, but did not get around to it. Again, matchups did not really favor it. However, do not regret picking this thing up. Very, very good member for this season. Poliwrath, at the beginning of the season, right when I actually drafted this thing, I was like, Poliwrath really isn't too good in my opinion. But after the season's over, I'm actually saying this thing is actually pretty decent. The way this thing actually came through for us. I mostly ran this thing either as a Rain Dance sweeper or a defensive Poliwrath this season. When I really actually needed this thing, it was there and actually absorbs it very, very well. Being with the Circle Throw, it actually phases opponents out and stuff like that. And with Scald Burn and stuff, it has a decent attack stat and special attack stat as well. Gets priority in Vacuum Wave, which I actually did not know till like the middle of the season. But very, very good mon. I'm actually happy we actually scooped this thing up. And looking at Poliwrath a little bit different than I did before the draft, or after, like slightly after the draft. But very, very good mon for the Grass Plains Raikous. Rotom Frost, this thing really didn't do too much for us this season. We brought it like 2 or 3 matches. It did a little bit of work, but not as much as I really expected. I think the ice typing was kind of bad for this thing, and plus the Jolteon. Most times Jolteon, I guess, really came in and actually this worked better than this thing. The only thing really different from this thing and Jolteon was that this thing has Ice Stab. Even though it does not get Ice Shard or anything like that, it gets outsped by a lot of things and is weak to Stealth Rocks, which was one of the things that really um, kind of hindered this thing and me bringing it a few weeks, just because it was kind of weak to Rocks. Um, Otherwise, it gets a decent move pool, I guess. It's a little bit predictable what it can do. And then that being an Ice type, if you want to run this thing as a defensive or especially defensive, it would not work too well because Ice type is weak to a lot of the common types like Fire and Rock and Steel. So you can't really run this thing defensive, which I actually thought about doing a few times this season. Really did not work out. So um, again, it's an iffy choice, but it served us till the end of the season, even though it was kind of more of a useless draft. X2, we actually did draft this until the middle of the season. It did absolutely nothing. I brought it one match. It got completely bodied, so I got rid of this thing. X2 really did not do too much for us. I don't know if it was really my draft or not. I'm not saying X2 is a bad mon, but really did not do nothing for us this season. Actually dropped it for the Meowstic on the free agency. Meowstic, I knew this thing actually had a lot of potential. I did bring it up 1 or 2 matches. I really just think the matches that we didn't really have a good matchup, and it really wasn't Meowstic's fault. It really didn't do too much. I know I tried running Choice Scarf one week. I actually tried running Screens, Toxic setup, I think, one week. I also wanted to run a few other gimmicky sets, which I won't say because they're kind of personal. That I really don't want to reveal them. Um, but I really think this had a lot more potential. I really just did not get enough weeks to really use this thing to make it shine, in my opinion. But I'm not really saying this thing's bad or not anything, but I really just not get a good chance of using this just because the matchups weren't really the best towards the end of the season. My opponents had a really insane drafts. But other than that, though, as the full roster for the Grass Plains Raikou Season 2, had a very good roster, in my opinion. Probably one of the best drafts right out of the first draft without actually trading any coaches, mons, or anything like that, or free agency. Like right out of the draft, we probably had one of the best teams without actually like trading anything. So that was very, very good in my opinion. At least I know how to team build for in the draft. So we're doing something right. As for Season 3, it's rumored to actually start at the end of June and the beginning of July this year, which I think is a little bit far away, in my opinion. I actually probably rather have it start like right in the beginning of June or to like the middle of June. I think the end of June and beginning of July is a little bit far away. Um, um, and a few people have actually been saying they wanted to start like right afterwards, but I really can't really start afterwards anyways. I've been busy with school, a lot of IRL stuff lately. Just don't have time to really get in game for a draft league as of like right now. Once summer break comes around, I'll have a lot more time to like breed mods and stuff like that. But right now with school and stuff like that, I actually got offered like I can't talk tonight. What was it? I actually got offered to join like 3 other draft type leagues. One being the TBU, ABL, and I think there was one other one I forgot the name of. I think it was PBL, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I actually got offered to join 3 others. I just do not have the time to breed mods and stuff in game. That's the reason why I'd actually decline those. But once summer vacation comes and OBA starts again, I will have time to do most of that stuff since I will be home, and I'll only be working probably like maybe 4 to 5 days a week only. So, other than that, though, for plans for Season 3, I have a feeling it's probably going to be our season. It all depends on the draft, though. I do have a few things in mind that I want to draft. I have a Fairy Dragon type in mind. Probably, I'm kind of revealed it already to most people on Skype already in the chat accidentally. But I'm just going to say it's a Fairy Dragon type in OU that I'm kind of looking forward to trying out. Probably get sniped now anyways, which I'm prepared to get sniped anyways. But next week's probably, or not next week, next season's probably going to be our season. If we do get a very good draft and stuff I'm really planning, maybe going to try a little bit different of a playing style with my draft next season as well. Not really going to be like the Mons I really drafted this season. A little bit different. Don't want to reveal too much because I'll probably end up getting sniped on my ass, but in the draft. But anyways, that's going to conclude season 2 of the OBA. Just some stuff I wanted to get out there as well. If you guys did enjoy this, Grass Plains Raikou is coming out 8 and 7 this week, or this not this week. I keep saying this week, this season for season 2. That's going to conclude season 2 of the OBA. Season 3 will be coming up in about a few months here. So other than that, though, hope you guys enjoy this. Drop a like below for some support on this video. That really helped me out as well. And also, if you are new, hit that subscribe button down below as well. Really helped me out. That being said, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Just wanted to get some stuff off my mind about the season 2 since the season actually officially ended last week. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. See you guys next time. Peace.